morning. Good morning once again. Good day to everyone across the globe, especially everyone in Ghana. It is Books Impact Teaches once again, and I am Kojomi Tenyama Kingsford, your tutor. Now, today we are going to focus our first lesson, which is going to be our major instruction or our lesson. And as I said earlier on, we should have used a white marker board, but it is quite unfortunate. But I have my marker here, and everything is going to be okay. So you have to sit back and watch this video till the end, and you pay close attention to whatever thing that is being outlined or relayed in this video. It is quite unfortunate because I'm not live and I'm not using Google Hangouts, I'm not using Zoom, or I'm not using Skype or Appear.in. So it is quite unfortunate that I don't have a virtual whiteboard, but I'll provide whiteboard when it becomes very necessary. So today our focus will be on common errors associated with subject-verb agreement, as I indicated in my previous video. Now, what we are going to learn today is very simple, and it got to do with some of the errors that we commit that is related to subject and verb agreement in the various sentences that we construct. Now, what we are going to look at today is the use of S. Now, the use of S, or some people might term it as the S error. What this means is very simple. We are beginning our lesson. Now, sit back and watch. Now, if someone learned a language perfectly, there would be no errors. Yes? Or you don't agree? It is very factual that if someone learned a language perfectly, there will be no errors. Yes, an instance is our ability to speak our mother tongue without flaw. You can think about the language that you brought to the earth on birth. So at birth, you came to the world, and when you started crawling, you began to speak. The language that you speak now is your mother tongue, and I am sure that you speak this language without any flaw, or you speak it flawlessly. Now, however, in practice, many of us do commit errors. It is quite natural, but we should try to prevent the errors and learn how to correct them. So today, our lessons will focus on how to correct these errors and preventing it even in most cases. So our major focus will be on the S error. Now, what is the S error? Now, one major error or a major source of error is the S that comes at the end of verbs. Yes, the S that comes at the end of verbs. That is one major source of errors that people commit, which we don't even realize it. But I know those who are experts in the field of English will let you know that yes, this error is very prevalent, even in speech and in writing. Yes, and even most experts do commit errors because they seem not to take note of this error that we commit. All right, so I'll go back to my virtual. This is my virtual white marker board. I have my white marker board here, and I'm going to put one or two things on it. So wait patiently. All right. So as I indicated earlier on, one major source or one source of error is the S that comes at the end of the verbs that we use in sentences. Now, what we don't know is that sometimes the S is added to the verb when it should not be, and sometimes it is not added when it should be, and that is where the error stems from. The error stems from when the S should be added and it is not added, and sometimes when you shouldn't add it and you add it. All right, so we get to know that sometimes S is added to the verb when it should not be, and sometimes it is not added when it should be. So if that is the case, what are some of the rules that we have to follow? It is not all about knowing the rules. It's about applying the rules in particular contexts. You understand? Because since we say that language is dynamic, it keeps on what? Changing. So definitely not knowing the rules, but it's about applying it in major context. So we ask ourselves, what are the rules? What are the rules? Can you think about when S is supposed to be added to the verb? And can you also think about when S is not supposed to be added to the verb? I'll give you some seconds to think about it now. Alright, so did you find this out? Now, we only add S to the verb when the sentence is in the simple present tense form. Take note of this. S is only added to the verb when the verb or the sentence particularly is in the simple present tense form. So S is added to the verb only in the simple present tense. Very good. So that is the first rule that you have to know. S is only added to the verb only when it is in the simple present tense form. Now quickly, let's look at an example. Now we have this example. When we say that, forgive me for my bad handwriting, actually. Insecticide kills, will it go there? Cockroaches, sorry. Yeah, it wouldn't go there, but I'm forcing because my white marker board is not spacious enough. Alright, so insecticide kills cockroaches. It's I think it's a typical example that we are going to look at. We say that S is only added to the verb in the simple present tense form. Now we can identify the verb in this sentence as kills. Very good. Now kills is the verb, and you can see that S has been added to kills. So this forms the verb in the sentence. Now what you should note is that kills is the simple present tense form, or the present simple tense of kill. It is the present simple tense of kill. And it is showing us what naturally happens when we apply insecticides to insects. So the tense here is in the simple present tense form, and hence we add S to the verb here. If S was to be omitted from this sentence, it would have rendered the sentence incorrect. We will get to know it when we look at the next rule, because the next rule too is very necessary, or is very appropriate into whether we add S to the verb or you are to omit the S. So let me add my S. So insecticide kills cockroaches. Alright, now the second rule. Let us look at the second rule. Alright, so let us quickly look at the second thing you have to consider before you add S to the verb. Now it is not just about adding S to the verb when only when that sentence is in a simple present tense form. But there's some other considerations before you can add s to the verb. Now, the other consideration we'll be looking at is very simple. It is very, very simple. This thing should be taken into consideration before you can add s to the verb. Now, the second thing, or the second rule, apart from the first one, as outlined here, is that s is only added to the verb when the subject is in a third person singular form. Hello, I believe you are there. S is only added to the verb in sentences when the subject of that sentence is in the third person singular form. I believe you know what the subject of a sentence is. Okay, I will take time to explain. Now, the subject of a sentence is very simple for those who may not know. Okay, when we talk about subject, we are talking about the person or the thing that is performing the action of the verb. You understand? So example, let me say an example. We have Kofi draws water every morning. So here the verb is draws. What most of us will say fetch or fetches. Fetches. So who is fetching the water? That is what you ask yourself. The action here is draws. That is the verb. You understand? So the person or the thing performing that action is considered as the subject of that sentence. And here the person performing the action is who? Is Kofi. So Kofi becomes the subject. So that is what subject of a sentence simply means. Very good. So let's move on. Now, what I talked about the second rule is that I said s is only added to the verb when the subject is in the third person singular form. What that means is, that means he, she, or it. That is the singular or the third person singular pronoun, or any singular noun phrase that can be replaced by one of these pronouns. So I'm saying that if the sentence, if the subject is in the is a singular pronoun, that is not just a singular pronoun, but it's a third person singular pronoun, you add s to the verb. That is what you should note. I'm saying that the third person singular pronouns are he, she, and it. Apart from he, she, and it being the third person singular pronoun, when the subject is a singular noun phrase which can be replaced by any of the pronouns that I already mentioned, that is he, she, or it, then it means you are good to go. It means you can add s to the what? To the verb. So that is that. So I said that add s to the verb when the subject is third person singular. It's third person singular. Let me put it that way. That means he, she, it, or any singular noun phrase which can be replaced. Oh, my marker it's not working. Let me change it. Which can be replaced by any of these pronouns. So perfect. Now someone will be asking what the noun phrase is. noun phrase, not just any noun phrase, but a singular noun phrase. Now, when we talk about a noun phrase is any construction whose head word is a noun. Any construction whose head word is what? Is a noun. Can be termed as a noun phrase. Now, noun phrases is very simple in terms of structure. Noun phrases has a determiner and a head word. A determiner and a head word. We have simple noun phrases and we have complex noun phrases. So in the previous example, Kofi draws water every morning. Kofi is a noun phrase, but it's a simple noun phrase. It becomes complex when it is made up of determiners, pre-modifiers, and head word. Alright. So examples of these noun phrases. I'm going to clean the first rule because I know by now we are all abreast with it. So here we have third person singular pronouns. And what are they? He, she, and it. Now we are going to look at the singular noun phrases. The singular noun phrases are very simple. Now look at this. We have the boy. I already told you earlier that noun phrases are constructions whose head word is a noun. So when I'm saying it's made up of, it can be simple and it can be complex. It is complex when it is made up of determiners and modifiers. You understand? So here we have a determiner here. The is the determiner and the head word noun, which is boy. So the boy is a noun phrase and it is singular because it stands for just one person. So when I say the head teacher too is a singular noun phrase. It's a singular noun phrase because it represents one person. I can write table. Table is a singular noun phrase. It can be replaced with it. The head teacher is a singular noun phrase. It can be replaced with he, or you can choose to add she because perhaps it's a neutral gender. It's a neuter gender. The boy here can be replaced by the pronoun he. So these are singular noun phrases. So if you have the subject of the sentence being in the third person singular pronoun or any singular noun phrase, it means you can add s to the verb. And before you add it to the verb, you always have to remember the first rule, which says that the sentence should be in the simple present tense form. If you don't satisfy this criteria, please don't add s to the verb. It means that even if the first rule is satisfied, or even if the sentence is in the even if the sentence is in a simple present tense form, but the subject is not a third person singular pronoun or a singular noun phrase, you cannot add s to the verb. Very good. So quickly, let's look at an example here. So we can say that oh, sorry, my marker is worrying me. I'll try and get a new marker, don't worry. I know some of you are saying that, hey, why are you so stingy? Why don't you buy a new marker? I'll do that, don't worry. So when I say he reads his notes, he reads his notes every evening. So we have he, Now this sentence is in a simple present tense form, and so we have looked at the subject. The subject here is, let's represent subject with S. So the subject here is he, and we have reads being the verb. You can see that the base form of the verb is read, but because this sentence is in a simple present tense form, and also because the subject is a singular subject, or it's a third person singular pronoun, we have to add s to the verb. That is why I added s to the verb. So if I'm supposed to, if I were to omit the s, it renders this sentence incorrect grammatically. Yeah, because this sentence is in a simple present tense form, and the subject too is a third person singular pronoun, and because of that, it satisfies the criteria of adding s to what? To the verb. So I have to add it to the verb. So I can change the he with the boy or the girl. So I've changed it to the girl. Oh, my marker, this marker. The girl. Very good. So this is the subject. The subject here has changed to a phrase. This is a noun phrase, and it's a singular noun phrase because it represents one person, one female, the girl. The girl. All right. So that is the second rule, and you have to take key note of it. Please, the rules are very important, as I said earlier on. The rules are very, very important. You have to follow it, and you have to know when to use these rules. The first rule has been stated, and the second one too has been elaborated. And I believe by now we are all okay with it. So the last thing you should note about the use of the s is if the subject is not a third person singular or a singular noun phrase. If the subject is not a third person singular or singular noun phrase, the form of the verb is the same. The form of the verb is what? Is the same. It doesn't change. You understand? So the form of the verb is the same for singular, for plural, and for all what? For all persons. That is, if the subject is not a third person singular or a singular noun phrase. You understand? That is the last thing we are going to look at. So you should always take note of the two rules I have already. Sorry, I had to pause the video because there was a moving vehicle and the noise was too loud. All right. So I'm saying that the last thing you are supposed to take notice, if the subject is not a third person singular pronoun or a singular noun phrase, the form of the verb is the same for singular and for plural and for all persons. That is what you are supposed to take note of, because aside he, she, and it being the third person singular pronouns, we have I. We have I, which is also a singular pronoun, but it's a first person singular pronoun. We also have you, which is also a singular pronoun. It can be used both singularly and plurally. So you here can be used both in the singular form and in the plural form, but this is the singular form. When I say you are a girl, so I'm pointing to one person, but if there are a group of girls, I can say that you are all girls or you are all females. So that is how we use you, and this is a second person singular form. Very good. So these are also singular words, pronouns, that is I and you, and when you use them, you cannot add s to the verb because they are not a third person. They are not in the third person singular form. The third person singular forms of pronouns are he, she, and it, and that is what you are supposed to take note of. Very good. So these are the rules that you can follow in order to forestall the S error. When you note, or when you incorporate these two rules, the two major rules I stated, the first rule being you add an S to the verb when the sentence is in the simple present tense form, and you only add S also to the verb when the subject is a third person singular pronoun or any singular noun phrase. These are the things that you are supposed to look at. When you take this into consideration, I think we are going to forestall that S error. So be informed, stay informed, and always take note of these things. Now, real quickly, I would like you to, in the comment section, you are to write 3 examples to illustrate the rules outlined. So you write 3 examples to illustrate the rules outlined. Make sure that the sentence you are writing is or can be inferred as a sentence in the simple present tense form, and make sure, or you also take note of the subject that you are using. It should be a third person singular pronoun, or it should be a singular noun phrase. So today, this is where we are going to end. It has been your tutor, Kingsford, and I am here with you throughout this whole time. I know we are in trying times, but I think we can still learn something whilst we stay indoors. Stay safe, be safe. The country needs you, the world needs you. I particularly need you. So we meet again same time. Bye bye.